In this release, we have continued to focus on the portal editor. So we've now made some changes to refactor the software behind the portal editor, and this has enabled us to bring in numerous improvements. So these improvements include, first of all, a big step forward in performance. So the page editor canvas, which is where the user goes in and designs their page, that now loads a lot faster and it's a lot more cleaner when it loads up. We've also added a slicker user interface in this release, so we've resized the components that are on the right-hand side, which you can drag into the page, and also the property fields for components that are in the page, so that we can fit more on the screen, and this just makes it easier for users to navigate and to find what they're looking for without needing the scroll bars. Also, in terms of actually using the page canvas, we made some improvements there, so we now have the ability to snap to component alignment, I should say, so we get guidance in the canvas when components are lined up with other components on there, or when they're in the center of the screen, and also some spacing guides as well to ensure equal spacing between components. So it makes it a lot easier now for users to design their pages, get everything lined up, and ensure the presentation is good quality on those pages. And the other benefit from this refactoring work is for the future. So this lays the groundwork now for some further user experience improvements that we'd like to make to the editor, which will include the ability to do inline text editing, content searching, and also better control of layering components as well. And these changes will not only be confined to the portal as we move forward, we'll be looking to utilize them as well as part of editing in digital signage as well. So lots of plans to take this forward even further going into the future. So we'll have a quick look at that now. And the portal editor is accessed through our portal management app from the main page, and the themes section is where I have my portal themes. So these are really a collection of pages that make up the app that users interact with. And we've got 3 main themes here, which we include on every release, and they are sort of targeted at different sectors, but these represent the sort of starting points for users when they have a Tripleplay system. In order to go ahead and begin editing these, the first step would be to clone the theme, which is what I've done with this one here, the Invictus Arena one, and then having cloned it like that, I'm able to go in and start editing the pages. So before we go and look at that, I just want to quickly give you a preview, if you're not already familiar with it, of what the portal would look like. So in this particular case, I'm using our Invictus Stadium portal theme. I'll just shift to a full screen. I'm loading this on my desktop, obviously. Typically, it would be used on a set-top box or smart device. Users would interact with this with a remote control. The sort of things that you can do through the portal here, we have access to live TV channels for users in most probably hospitality areas of a stadium. In this case, could interact and engage and find the channel that they're looking for, which we would obviously deliver with our IPTV solution on the platform. Then if we go back, I can access club media, which is effectively recorded video content. So this could be anything, any sort of media in a stadium context, things like match highlights, having access to previous matches, having access to interviews with coaches, with players. Those would be the types of real engaging content that users and fans who are visiting a stadium would want to see. Go back to full screen, sorry. And then if we come back from here to the main page, you can use these other menus, and these are all customizable, as I'll show you shortly. We can use them for things such as live score data. So this is an example of some data that could come from a third-party site and be displayed using our web page component that I mentioned earlier. And then we have things like food and drink information, which is obviously very relevant to users or fans in a stadium, where they can find out about where the food and drink outlets are. And then with stadium information, you can do things such as have information on the club shop and merchandise, potentially bring in a stadium map to allow users to guess to navigate around the place, and other things such as weather and metro times. So lots of flexibility, lots of options, and useful tools here. And then the QR code here is a feature that we included, which gives the user the ability to scan that and do the remote control on their mobile device rather than with a physical remote. So just quickly exit the full screen and we'll go into the interface for managing that now. So the one that I just showed you was the Invictus Arena theme. If I click on that through the web management pages here, it brings up all the pages that make up the theme, and I can go into any one of these and begin editing by clicking on them. An alternative view, which is very useful feature is the navigational view, so you can see how those pages link together here as well. And if we go back and go to the home page, this brings up the actual editor. And some of the improvements I mentioned were around being able to fit more of the components in on the right-hand side now. So we've got a good number of those components there, easily accessible on the actual page canvas now. If I go to move an existing component around, so I take this image here, you can see the guides lines coming up. So these are the alignment guides that I mentioned. It allows me to do equal spacing or line up with other components or the center of the screen. So yeah, very useful when it comes to designing the page. And then if we go to this menu component, so these are menu options that take you to other pages. Let's say I want to go in and change the live TV option here to rather than go to a page which has all of the channels, you can go to another page that I prepared earlier for doing the channel categories. And if I submit that, I can then preview the layout and actually test it, the interaction. So this brings up pretty much a representation of what it looks like on the client device. And if I go to the live TV menu now, rather than show all of the channels, it goes to the categories page. And this is the feature that I mentioned at the start that we introduced earlier in the year. So I have the ability now to access the channels via categories. So I could go to the club channels, which are like the in-house TV, or go off to the sport channels. So it allows easier navigation there. And very quickly, if we come out to the home page, just to demonstrate another feature I mentioned, the Watch TV page was the page we recently made editable. So this would normally show full screen TV. But what you can do now is use the components on the right hand side and overlay those over the stream. So it's a reduced set of components, but some important ones here. I could, as an example, bring in a company logo, in this case for Uniguest, and stick that at the top right of the screen. And this would overlay the TV, and it just allows me to put some branding or some additional messaging here for the people interacting to consume.